Welcome everyone. We are back with our Iririki Island coverage here. We are doing the exit interviews. I'm joined by my co-host McKenna, and we got a new special face joining us. Lilly from Exile Island is going to be doing the exit interviews this season, and I am very, very sad that we are joined by this incredible special guest who ended up being the boot. Caroline, I'm sad to see you, but also happy to talk to you. How are you doing?
I am fantabulous. All good. It's all good in the hood.
Yeah, I love the attitude, even though you were beating the hell out of that stick in the challenge. But hey, it was great. I was here for it. But I know Lilly has some amazing questions that she is ready to get into.
Yes, I'm excited. It was really great to watch you, Caroline, on the episodes. I was rooting for you, even though you didn't make it too far. I wanted you in that final 2 or 3, whatever we're going to get to at the end.
Yeah, well, I knew I wasn't going to get that far. Bummed that I was the first, but you know,
well, no,
it is what it is.
We had a medevac.
Well,
yeah. Speaking of the medevac, how did what was your reaction?
Yeah,
what was your reaction to finding out?
Yeah, we were.
Sorry.
I mean, it's sad that he had to leave, but we called bullshit on that. Excuse me, BS on that.
You think the other tribe should have voted out somebody?
Yeah, they definitely should at least have had a council before I had to take my walk of shame there, but it is what it is. As Lauren so kindly pointed out, that is the game of Survivor. So suck it up, Buttercup.
You just said it a lot nicer than I did. I would probably was.
Yes, I did. No, yeah, you were not having it when we protested a little bit. You were like, yeah, well, too effing bad.
There you go.
We're like, hey, all right.
So following when we found out that Connor got medevaced, you went right into a challenge. How did your tribe decide who was doing what? We didn't get to see that in the episode, so I'm curious to see how the puzzle people got chosen versus the ping pong people.
Well, we kind of just had a brief conversation, and honestly, there was really no dissension in the ranks, so to speak. Nobody was really upset about how we got placed. Everybody kind of felt comfortable where they were at. You know, everybody talked to their strengths and weaknesses. So I knew for sure I didn't want to be, you know, on the tail end of this thing, blowing it up. But the original thing was that I was going to be the number 1 man. But then Meredith, in practice, while we were all having the time to practice, while I forget what was going on in the background, realized she wasn't doing really well. And I was hitting everything in practice, so felt pretty comfortable going into the challenge. She asked to swap with me, and that was my fatal mistake. Because had I not swapped, this would have probably been a different story. I can't say for sure. Nobody can say for sure. She might have been able to network better than I did. That was part of my problem too. But she would have been the one not being able to hand off. So that was a critical misstep. I should have just stayed where I was before we went into the challenge. She kind of convinced me to swap places. So
I can imagine that would be frustrating. When you saw or heard of the puzzle, did you regret not getting on the puzzle, or do you still think being on the ping pong portion was the right way to go for you in that challenge?
Well, yeah, because I wasn't, have now hindsight, seeing the puzzle, what it actually really was, yeah, of course I was bummed. I could have probably handled the puzzle pretty well, but the way it was presented without having any details of what the puzzle really was, I felt more confident going into, you know, doing the ping pong portion of it and not having it rely on me to solve something. Because I'm not, as much as I love watching Survivor, or I'm more of a casual observer, I'm not an Uber observer. So
She's
you
no
know, if
me. Let's put it out there.
far from it. It's one of those things where if it relied on having, you know, knowledge, I'd have been in trouble. I definitely, you know, if it was a puzzle based on something that I would have had to have known from like watching Survivor, I might have had an issue, you know, unless it surrounded Boston Rob, and then I'm all good.
Yeah. Well, we saw within the challenge that you were getting frustrated that you couldn't get the ping pong, as anybody would be. I mean, you still killed it compared to what I could do. You know, Lauren hit this kind of speed bump when we had our game with the flip, you know, the bottle flip, and it's hard when you get one chance and you miss it. Why did you not switch up how you were playing the ball? I know Lauren mentioned in Tribal, there were a lot of different variations. You know, you nor your tribe mates suggested a switch up. Why do you think that happened? Just heat of the moment, or?
Well, two things. I did switch it up a little bit. At first I was trying from a standing position. And then I was trying from the sitting position. And I also was a little, I guess, unclear about how far my reach was allowed to be. I didn't realize that if I didn't, as long as I didn't touch the floor, I could kind of lean in as far as I needed to. So for me, that was unclear. So that's why I didn't, you know, do a reach. And like I said, I was hitting the cup constantly while I was waiting in practice. At least probably out of 5 times I was hitting it 3. So I really honestly felt pretty comfortable going in. I'm like, okay, I got this. And I think my nerves got the better of me. All of a sudden, you know, Lauren says go, and I'm like freaking out. The palms start to sweat. And I was in a very small confined room too, that didn't have a lot of air movement. So the more frustrated I got, the more upset I got, the more I was like profusely starting to sweat. And I was just like, okay, this is not going well anymore.
And it's hard.
I think the relaxed feeling that I had doing the rehearsal, you know, it was just going in. It was like, you know, nothing but net kind of thing. And it just fell apart.
I think JS had a confessional where he was like, I think Caroline it got to you about like 8 or 9 times and you made it the one, but Meredith had shot 100+ ping pong balls. So like,
oh yeah, she was the average, the ratio from ping pong balls between her and myself were,
I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think you should be the one faulted in this situation, but it is what it is.
I was only able to hand it off once. So she was able to hand it technically with even the amount that she took
8 or 9 times.
She was she was
out
at
of
least
100
able to hand it
versus
off.
1 out of 9.
I could only convert it that one time, and I felt so horrible. I mean, the fact that we couldn't even get it past Jay was like that blew.
Yeah, Garret was living his best life, having a beer and chilling.
He took a bathroom break.
Oh yeah,
he went left and went to the bathroom and came back.
And Lord knows what the 2 guys were, you know, Jaden and what was Steven in the other room waiting to go, like, yeah.
No, that you hit it on the head. They were probably doing that. They were probably just like the entire time just sitting in the room. Just nothing to say. They were probably just staring at each other, for being honest.
They weren't in the
It
room where it
sounds like-
happened.
Yeah.
To
It
quote
does
Hamilton.
sound like, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't in the room where it happened.
Yeah, they weren't. I mean, speaking of that, that really gave Stephen and Jaden time to form an alliance, some sort of duo. Why do you think that wasn't brought up once you found out that your tribe lost? Why do you feel like no one was like, hey, this could be a big issue, you know? It seems like people were thinking about it in their confessionals, but it wasn't brought up in the scramble rooms at all.
I think we were just reeling from the whole debacle. You know what I mean? It was not the first challenge, but you know, it was new. We were coming off of a high of winning the first one. Then we go into, you know, hearing that the other team member had to leave, to going into the next challenge and that being so atrocious. And we really, you know, we bonded in a good way when, you know, because we were on a high. And I think we missed a lot of conversation and what people were saying because we weren't really kind of paying attention yet, you know. So I think the fact that they were sitting alone and having an opportunity to talk really kind of wasn't even part of the thought process. At least it wasn't part of my thought process, because the only thing I could think of was the fact that, oh man, it had to suck to be them sitting there wondering what was going on, you know.
So when you found out that Dak had won, they had gotten the puzzle, did you automatically think it was you or Meredith? Did you think there was a chance to maybe work with Meredith to put it on somebody else? Because you guys were both very admitting of your fault, and it hurt to watch because, and you know, you love to see that in the real world, but in Survivor, you never want to take, you know, full responsibility, at least in my opinion.
No, you're 100% right. And honestly, hindsight is always the best vision we have. You know, I was, as being a senior member, so to speak, and really not grasping you know, I know from watching seasons of Survivor, I know there's a lot of conniving, but you have that time to get your momentum up and who you're going to kind of. I didn't feel a connection with Meredith right away. I mean, she was nice enough person. Again, we didn't have a whole lot of time to connect, but I was really feeling the JS Garret vibe from the beginning. I mean, I don't know that we formed a long-term friendship kind of vibe, but I was clicking with them in my world. I knew it was going to be on Meredith and I right away, because really at the end of the day, we were the ones that didn't, but I didn't use it to my advantage. I didn't understand, I'll be honest with you, it didn't dawn on me that you could sit there in a room with 5 people and go, want to go over here, and not expect everybody to not want to go over there with you. You know, it's like, that concept really wasn't in my head, that I could sit there and say, hey, can I have a private conversation with you, and not be insulting to somebody else? And, you know, can I pick you two aside? I tried to grab the opportunity when Meredith was in confessional to say, hey, guys, I really, 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 really want to stay. But I guess whatever happened when I was in confessional, maybe she came up with a bigger plea. I mean, honestly, the bigger target, really, I missed an opportunity. And again, hindsight, to really, we could have pinned it on Jaden.
When I was
at the end of the day.
When I was editing, I had solid 4 people where I was like, you could have voted, including yourself, with these 4 and would have been safe. Because Stephen was like, Jaden. Meredith was like, Stephen, you're right. you would have obviously voted for Jaden, and then
Oh, sure.
Garret was already voted for Meredith, so he was on your side. And I'm sure if everyone was like, "Hey, JS, we're going Jaden instead," he would have been like, "Got you." So I was like, "Oh, what could have been?"
It was a totally missed opportunity. And not to say anything was bad against Jaden. Jaden was good, but you know, having been a last minute add-on, he was kind of a little lost with what was going on and wasn't sure he even wanted to be there, and then when he heard how long he was going to be there, he was a little like, oh crap, are you kidding me? So it was like I really, you know, we all kind of laughed it off in the beginning when we were all getting to know each other, but I didn't stop and think to say, you know what, I could use that to my advantage, and let me say, hey, you know, if he doesn't really feel like being here anyway, why don't you just get rid of him?
It seemed
we
like
were
you
just
were
looking
always
at him. We were just looking at them as, you know, couldn't really blame them because they were sitting there. You know?
It seemed like you were always in a scramble room with Jaden, though. So there was never the opportunity to be like, let's get Jaden out, because he was right there.
Exactly. The only opportunity would have been if I would have grabbed somebody and said, hey, can we go off for a private conversation? But with everybody just, and I think Lauren even pointed it out one time. She was like, all right, so you guys are all just gonna sit here. And it was like, yeah, what else are we supposed to do?
Break off.
I hated it so much.
Exactly.
I'm sitting there like stewing to myself, like, you people have got to be kidding me.
Because we had just experienced this with Dak, the episode before, and we're like, so Wota's doing this too.
Like, do y'all want to stay in the game? Like, that's literally what I'm sitting there thinking. But then again, it all comes down to like if you have aggressive players or not. And your entire tribe, no one was really that aggressive, and so people were just sitting there.
Yeah, I think nobody wanted to make a move that early either and force their hand. So again, it was bad. It was just so bad on every single level of bad. We hit all the key elements.
Yeah, I think even JS said like he was getting frustrated that everybody was in a group, but he felt like he couldn't pull anybody or break off. And so I can imagine that with what you said, coupling with the timing, really affected how this vote went, because Jaden and JS were not really sold on voting you, but because everybody was kind of hanging out in that one room, when you were gone, it was the only time really anybody's name was thrown out there. They were like, well, I guess this is what we're doing because this is the only name we've heard. So I can imagine that would be frustrating, watching back, just knowing like you said, just pulling somebody, which, I mean, as you said, I would be afraid to make the first move, because then that's another reason on top of the other reasons to get me out. So yeah, that would be frustrating. Yeah. Was there anybody on your tribe or on the other tribe that if you had made it through this vote, you would have wanted to work with more, maybe get in that scramble room with a one-on-one chance?
Yeah, I really didn't, because I wasn't there that long. I saw that one of those questions on Facebook, you know, if there was somebody on the other team. I really don't remember, you know, because I didn't really have a whole lot of interaction with the other team, so I don't know if there's somebody on the other team that I would have liked to work with. Again, like I said, JS and Garret stick out in my mind the most. Steven was another player that I really liked. I mean, I liked my team in general. We had a good rapport right from the beginning. I think we had a decent mix of, you know, levels of Survivor, you know, experience, so to speak. So I just would have liked to have been there a little bit longer. I didn't want to be the first kind of out that way, but yeah.
Understandable. But speaking that you brought up Facebook and that you already kind of peeked at some of these questions, I will ask a couple of them that we have not necessarily covered. And this one is from Robbie. What was your strategy coming in and how would it change based on your experience in this game?
Honestly, I didn't have a whole lot of strategy going in because even though I watched the previous, I think it was season 1 I watched.
Season 2, Lalamanu.
Is that the one that I watched? I thought season
Britley.
2 just came up.
With Britley.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yes. So I watched season 2. And I was really trying to familiarize how you guys move the game and how things were, the technical side of it and the expectations of what was needed from us and how Zoom was working. And so I was concentrating more on, unfortunately, that side of the game rather than what it was my strategy was going to be. And on my bio, it shows that I'm more of a brawn player than I am a strategy player. If this were a lifting challenge, I'd have thrown everybody over the wall. You know what I mean? That's always in a real game. That's more of my strength. So strategy wise, McKenna and I have talked about this after, should I play the game again down the road? Yeah, I definitely would come with a different set of instructions, so to speak. My gameplay is now a little bit different.
There you go. This is an easy one. This is from Steven. Chipotle or Cordobo?
Well, considering I don't know what Cordobo is,
Qdoba.
we don't have them here.
I probably said it wrong. Yeah.
It's Qdoba.
Whatever. I don't know what I said.
Whatever. We don't have that here.
Okay. So
I guess Chipotle has a default, but I still wouldn't go to you. If I'm gonna go Mexican, I'm gonna go big. I need some place that I'm gonna get served with, salt on the rim and
there you go. It's the only way to do it.
All right.
None of this drive-by crap.
Bill wants to know, well, his little statement first. Oh, by the way, everyone, if I do not ask your Facebook question, it's because we already covered it in the interview, so do not get upset that I do not ask your question. Just have to put that.
We love your questions. Please keep asking them. Thank you.
Yes. Do not get upset at me. Bill says, so sorry we never got a chance to play together. Did you ever consider confiding that McKenna is your daughter to anyone? Part of me thinks that used wisely, it would have solidified and strengthened the closer relationship you had. Or did you have an orders not to disclose under penalty of death?
Great statement.
I told her it wouldn't be advantageous to say, hey, I'm the host's mother, but I don't know if that would have solidified anything for you.
I might have played that card later on in the game. I didn't want to open with that. Plus I was having a little fun with that. It was kind of nice behind the scenes, having fun with production, knowing that I was out there and everybody not knowing. One of the highlights for me to go back now and watch season 1, McKenna and I were talking about it, was when she finally revealed that you booted off my mother, and the look on their faces was priceless. I had so much fun with that. The like, oh no, we feel so bad. that was, it was almost worth it not to. I mean, I don't know if I could keep that concealed if I would ever play again. If
well, no, that cat's out of the bag now.
Well, you never know. Somebody, it depends who I'm playing with.
Yeah.
Since I was out so early, people, maybe I could be forgettable enough. Yeah,
You're
but
not forgettable.
no, I
It
don't.
would
I
just be
don't.
somebody that had seen it.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't regret not revealing it. I may towards the end of the game, I might have tried to play it a little bit, to see if it would have opened a door or kept me through the door, so to speak. But definitely not early on, because I don't know, that would have helped. I think the result would have been the same in any kind of vote trying to get me out.
All right, it's not a question. I have one more statement, and then I know we have one Instagram question for you. Celestina just wanted to say you were so funny. It was great to see your personality shine. Sad I wasn't able to interact with you in the game, but all the best. So that's from Celestina.
That was great.
Yes. And I know McKenna has an Instagram question for you.
Yes, we have an Instagram. Follow it. Like the things. We do stories all the time. Our Instagram guru, Mr. Greg Langstine, also my mother's #1 fan, has a question for you. If you ever played in a season with me, would you vote me out?
There's only one correct answer.
I would be the second coming of Sierra, and I would vote out my mom before she could vote me out. Yes, that is the correct answer.
Considering you wanted to see me blindsided, you little
I
bitch,
could do that to you, even better.
I couldn't believe I still can't believe you said that and left that in the cast assessment. That was terrible.
I loved it.
Yes. Your tailor would be so
I love that it was in there. It's great. It brings a lot to the table and it's funny.
Listen.
If it means me staying in or go, gotta go.
Yeah, okay. I call BS on that one.
Lily, do you have any other questions for our sweet Caroline here?
Yeah, I just have the last question. Denny asked everyone this question, and I really love it. So, how would you describe your game in one word?
Oh, God.
It's a lot of pressure to come up with it.
It is, because, man, there are tons of words that come up. My game in one word: sucked.
Oh.
You sure you wouldn't describe your game as beaver?
You don't. I was a good beaver. Jaden just
You were a
couldn't get
good
it.
beaver. You were a good beaver.
And I looked at the video when I asked you how you would do it. I did do it the same way you said.
Yeah,
Look at
but
the video
just a little
again,
bit
McKenna.
slow. Just a little bit slower. I would have gotten there faster. I would have started with that.
There's the rival right there.
Yeah,
She
instead
is
of blood
such a
versus
little
water,
bitch.
we're doing a rivals season.
There you go. Well, Caroline.
Yeah, no, I was a good beaver, but the best part was that we were so far behind on that, but then we caught up, and the last thing I was on was skunk, and not 2 seconds before I said skunk, one of the other teams guessed skunk, and I was like, skunk, and gave us our first win. I was like, yes.
So you had that amazing moment. So
I did have one amazing moment.
there you go. Take a positive from it. There you go. Well, Caroline, thank you so much for joining us. You were a delight. It was so good to see you again. Bummer that you had to go.
I love
so
all
early.
you guys. You guys do an amazing job. I've watched 2 of them now go through their paces, and you guys are amazing. So what you guys do is hard work, and my hat's off to you guys.
We appreciate that so much. Lily, thank you for joining us. Super excited to have you on with us this season. As always, McKenna, good to see you. Rock and roll. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the Facebook group at Survivor Game Show Network, and we are going to be rolling out all the content all season long for Iririki
Yeah.
Island. Take it easy.
Bye.
Good night.